So let's talk about the 2026 Grammy Awards. I mean, this night was supposed to be a massive victory lap for Billie Eilish, right? She's one of the biggest stars on the entire planet. But one moment on that stage, turned what should have been a celebration into a full-blown cultural firestorm. And it tells us so much about the world we're living in right now.
And this is where it all kicked off. She's up there accepting Song of the Year, and she drops these 9 words. That's it. It wasn't some long, drawn-out speech, but man, was it a lightning rod. Inside the room, you could hear the applause. But for the millions of people watching at home, well, this was the spark that ignited an absolute inferno of debate. And the reaction wasn't just fast, it was like instant. It was intense, and it just split public opinion clean down the middle. This wasn't just another celebrity making a political statement, no. This became a symbol of a much, much larger cultural divide. Okay, so let's break down the two camps that formed immediately. On one side, you had critics just screaming hypocrisy. They were quick to point out that Eilish's multi-million-dollar mansion in LA sits on land that historically belonged to the Tongva tribe. Their argument was pretty simple. How can you stand there and talk about stolen land while living in a mansion built right on it? But on the other side, her supporters defended her on principle. They argued that, hey, just because you're forced to live within a system doesn't mean you can't criticize its foundations. For them, the whole point was to call out that historical wrong. And let me tell you, the criticism got personal, and it got personal fast. This quote from political commentator Eric Doherty really sums up the whole vibe of the backlash. It stopped being a debate about policy and turned into an attack on her character, demanding that she personally solve the very issues she was bringing up. Now, what did Billie do? Well, her reaction is what makes this so fascinating. Instead of trying to walk it back or clarify, she did the exact opposite. She doubled down, basically saying, I meant every single word, and if that costs me some fans, then so be it. And that, you can bet, just poured a whole lot of gasoline on the fire. And then, of course, her brother and #1 collaborator, Finneas, jumped in to defend her. He completely reframed the backlash. He basically said, look, this isn't a real political disagreement. He painted it as a generational and gendered attack from an old guard that, well, in his words, had plenty of its own skeletons in the closet. But then a really crucial third voice entered the conversation, the Tongva tribe, the actual people whose ancestral land is at the very heart of this whole debate. They weighed in, and they didn't demand she give up her house. Instead, they said they appreciated her using her enormous platform to bring visibility to their history. It just added this whole other layer of nuance that the internet shouting matches were totally missing. Okay, but while this whole political storm is raging, the cameras that same night were catching something completely different. A very personal story that was unfolding right on her hand. It's a great reminder that these superstars, they live under a microscope in more ways than one. See, the thing is, Eilish wasn't at the Grammys by herself. She was there with actor Nat Wolff. And their romance had been building, very publicly, for a while. This created a whole other narrative for the tabloids and, all of her fans to follow. And this is where things get wild, because it really shows you the two sides of her fame. While all the pundits were online debating property law and immigration, the gossip blogs and social media feeds were absolutely exploding over this huge diamond ring she was wearing on that finger. The question totally shifted from what did her speech mean to, wait, is she engaged? And just as quickly as that whole thing started, the rumor mill got shut down. TMZ, of course, got the scoop from sources close to her. Nope, not engaged. It was a fast, factual end to all the speculation, but wow, does it highlight the intense, nonstop scrutiny of every single part of her life, from her politics all the way to her relationships. So you have to ask, right? How can one person handle all that pressure? The political firestorm on one side, the intense personal scrutiny on the other. Well, to really get that, you have to understand the sheer scale of her professional power. It's on another level. Because, while the whole world was busy focusing on the Grammy night drama, something absolutely monumental was happening behind the scenes. A project that really proves she isn't just a pop star. She is a global entertainment force operating at the highest level you can imagine. Just look at this, a full-length 3D concert film, co-directed by James Cameron. Yeah, that James Cameron, the Avatar and Titanic guy. This isn't just a little concert movie. This is a massive technological event, produced and distributed by the biggest players in Hollywood. This is the kind of clout, the kind of power that lets you get on national television, say fuck ICE, and then tell your critics you don't even want them as fans. So let's pull all these pieces together, right? We've got the political rebel, we've got the young woman in love, and we've got the global entertainment mogul, all in one person. What does this whole whirlwind moment actually tell us about what it means to be a celebrity today? You know, there is actually a term for this that helps make sense of it all. Researchers talk about the difference between a celebrity endorser, that's someone who's hired by a campaign to support a cause, and a celebrity advocate. An advocate, they're in the driver's seat. They choose the cause, they write their own script, and they control their own message.
And that is Billie Eilish to a T. She wasn't paid by some group to wear a pin on her dress. No, she took one of the biggest moments of her entire career, took the mic on the biggest stage, and delivered her own unfiltered, controversial message. For better or worse, she is the definition of a celebrity advocate, and that sense of agency is the key to this whole story. Which kind of leaves us with this one big question. We want our stars to be these authentic, incredible artists, but also flawless political activists. We pick apart their love lives while they're out there building global business empires. So what do we actually demand from them? It seems like we demand everything, all at the same time. And that creates this paradox, a paradox that defines the modern superstar. And right now, Billie Eilish is living smack dab in the middle of it.